went to
Sure. Yeah.
when he was in high school. But yeah, uh, yeah, it's crazy. Those stories, those journeys, so cool to hear. Yeah.
The other thing that both the offensive center and the guard both were roommates at North Dakota State.
That's correct. Yes. And those guys decided to stay at North Dakota State with about zero meal money. So
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. Listening to sports talk radio now and all these deals going on with these college players, it's crazy to hear how much it's changed. Back then it was just camaraderie, and sportsmanship and yeah, but now it's yeah, they're stars.
Here. Chairman, we're just 1 minute out, but so we'll obviously wait until we hit that 1:30 period as advertised, but I do think we have everybody that we were expecting to be on for sure, at least is on, so.
Very good. Well, we'll hold off till we hit 1:30 exactly, and then we'll call it to order.
Sounds good.
I'd like to call the February 26th meeting of the Board of Water and Natural Resources to order. Brenda, please call the roll.
Becker, Bernhard,
here.
Drews, Gary, I know you're here. Jennings,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
Lanning, Soho.
Here. I would like to welcome everyone participating in today's meeting or listening online. This meeting is streaming live on SD.net, a service of SD Public Broadcasting. For the benefit of our online listeners, I request that all participants please identify themselves when speaking during the meeting. Participants should also remember to unmute their microphones only when speaking. The meeting is being recorded and the audio will be made available online following the meeting. To find the audio recording online, do a web search for South Dakota Boards and Commissions portal. Follow the link and select the name of the board. If members of the board's Legislative Oversight Committee are participating in this meeting, please identify yourself at this time. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Bernhard will so move.
Second Jennings.
Second, Jones.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have a public comment period, and I'll remind those that would wish to comment that it's available for 3 minutes. It is not a question and answer. The board will not discuss it. We will listen carefully. Getting a lot of feedback. We will listen carefully and then move on with the board meeting. Do we have any comments? Hearing none. Item number 4, consulting contract amendment with Perkins Coal LLAP for bond counsel services for South Dakota Revolving Program 2026 AB bond issue. Tina.
Unfortunately, Chairman Soholt, Tina had a sick child today, so the board is going to be stuck with Andy for the full agenda. I apologize for that. But I will cover those couple items. Item number 4, our consulting contract amendment with Perkins Coie for bond counsel services. Mr. Bruce Bonjour has served as bond counsel for the South Dakota Conservancy District since 1994. And Mr. Bonjour is with Perkins Coie in Chicago. The current contract with Mr. Bonjour became effective a couple years ago. However, that contract did not take into account multiple bond issuances over the contract period. For that reason, we're recommending amendments to the contract, that some language be added within section 11, as noted in the title page, for one or more series of new fixed rate, new money bonds being amended with a fixed fee of $95,000 per bond issuance. The larger change is in section 11D related to the total contract amount, which accounts for up to 3 additional bond issuances within the contract period and raises the total combined contract amount to a maximum of $762,000 for all services to be provided by Mr. Bonjour. We did work with legal counsel David McVeigh from the Office of Attorney General to prepare the first amendment to the agreement for legal services for bond counsel services. And this contract does run through December 31st, 2027. Staff would recommend approving a resolution authorizing the execution of the amended bond counsel contract.
Do we have a motion to follow staff recommendation?
Bernhard
So
will so
moved,
move.
Drews. Second, Drews.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions?
So Andy, this
Hearing
is
none.
Gene Jones. Just a clarification, the $95,000 then would be an addition to the 647, or is that kind of included in that number and we're just specifically designating an amount per issue?
Correct. Yes, the 647 is the total amount related to Bruce's services towards bond counsel, not just for bond issuances, but some other services that are part of the overall contract. The 95,000 is what it was originally for each issue, and this is just increasing the total amount to account for additional issuances that may be necessary. Again, we will only pay for the actual services that Bruce would provide to us.
Very good. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Gene. Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, series resolution authorizing state revolving fund program bonds. Andy and Bruce.
Thank you, Chairman Stoholt. I'll kick it off just kind of briefly, and then I'm going to turn the stage over to Bruce to cover a little more in depth. But in basics, staff is going to be recommending that the South Dakota Conservancy District issue approximately $225 million in state revolving fund program bonds, Series 2026 AB. They'll be sold a little bit around the time of mid-March, and then a closing the week of March 30th. The 2026 A bonds are going to be taxable bonds, provide approximately 1.5 million of clean water state match funding and 7.5 million of drinking water state match funding required to meet our obligations with EPA state match levels for the capitalization grants. The 2026 B bonds will be tax exempt bonds issued to provide new funds for making loans for existing and yet to come loan obligations. Total of $125 million for the drinking water leverage portion and $75 million for the clean water leverage portion. In the board packet, the draft series resolution was included, and I will let Mr. Bruce Bonjour cover a little bit more information on the series resolution and anything he wants to address related to other documents. Bruce.
Thank you, Andy. This resolution is in what I consider to be a standard form for us. As referenced earlier, we've been doing this since 1994, and there's nothing different about this resolution from the prior ones. It does incorporate the terms and conditions that Andy has outlined. It references, and I believe you have these available on the website, it references a preliminary official statement, which we've drafted in concert with your financial advisors, PFM, and staff. And, excuse me, David McVeigh. It references the prior history of the board and the program, which is literally the first 2 pages. The draft documents are listed in your 3rd page. On page 3, I'll take you through this quickly. After following a series of definitions beginning on page 5 of your draft resolution, it contains the formal pledge by the board to secure your bonds with all of the revenues that are generated by the loans that you approve. These bonds, taxable and tax exempt, will be on a parity with your outstanding bonds. So they have equal standing to that pledge. Beginning on page 7, you'll see in section 202 the details of the purposes of the bonds, which are, as Andy outlined, the various amounts for clean water match, drinking water match, and leverage loans for both drinking water and clean water, as Andy specified. The resolution then proceeds to outline what we call parameters for your officers to conform to when we get bids. We'll be offering these bonds to the marketplace. We'll get bids. Typically, we take the lowest effective bid, but those bids have to fit within parameters. Those parameters are such as no debt service that would exceed 25 million in any given year. The yield or the weighted average interest rate for the taxable bonds cannot exceed 6%. For the tax exempt bonds, 6.5%. The reason tax exempt is a little bit higher than the taxable is the next point in the parameters. Is the maturity of the bonds, because the taxable bonds may not mature beyond 2036, yet the tax exempt bonds can extend to 2056. The underwriters are going to have to pay at a minimum 99% of the par amount of the bonds, and the underwriter spread is restricted, you'll see on top of page 9, to a 1.5% underwriter's discount. I suspect we'll do much better than that. The resolution then proceeds to approve the official statement and to establish various accounts and funds in which the money is to be deposited, loaned out, received back, and paid out to the bondholders. Other than that, within those parameters, your officers will be authorized to accept the winning bid, the lowest bid, and authorized to proceed to closing without further consultation with the board as a whole. One thing I might mention in closing is that you'll see on page 10, and I'm sure Jerry and Todd will appreciate this, we've authorized electronic, sorry about that. We've authorized electronic signatures this time around. It'll make it a little bit easier in terms of logistics if the board's willing to do that, but we've included that in the resolution, and that means your formal final transcript of proceedings for the bonds will be nothing more than PDFs of documents signed by your officers and others. I'll end it there. I'll open it for questions. Happy to discuss.
Any questions at this time?
Jerry,
We have a
staff
motion to follow
recommend-
staff recommendation.
Second, Jones.
We have a motion and a second. Any other question or comment?
Did you catch the?
Aye.
Hearing none. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bruce, thank you much for being available this afternoon. Much appreciated.
Thank you, and thank you for the amendment as well. I appreciate.
Okay. Item number 6, amendments to the 2026 Clean Water SRF and Drinking Water SRF intended use plans. Andy.
Thank you, Chairman. This is also in part related to the bond issuance, so we thought it was appropriate to bring these amendments to the board kind of as part of this package. The 2026 Clean Water and Drinking Water SRF intended use plans were approved by the board this past November of 2025. At the time those were approved, we did not recommend transferring any funds between the SRF programs to meet needs. We did, however, make it fairly clear that we would continue to evaluate that and if needed, bring forth a recommendation to the board. Based on our continued review, as well as discussion with PFM, our financial advisor, we're proposing to amend both programs' 2026 intended use plans. Both the changes will be the same changes within the sections of transferring between the programs, and would include both the narrative and table 2, which is located in the intended use plan, which really just shows the dollar amounts. In basics, and in the title page, I've included the sections of the section of the intended use plan narrative that would be changed. As I think the board is aware, we're able to transfer up to 33% of each year's drinking water capitalization grant amount from one program to the other. And we have done this in the past to help meet demand with either capitalization grant funds, leverage dollars, or repayment funds. But it's been a few years since we've done this. So we discussed kind of the available funds that are available to transfer. There's about $95 million available to transfer from the clean water program to the drinking water, approximately 91 million from the drinking water to the clean water program. And then the real change though was on page 2 of the title page. And I'll read that out, that based on program demands and the need for funds to be available for taxable borrower purposes in the drinking water SRF during federal fiscal year 2026, 25 million of repayment proceeds will be transferred from the clean water SRF to the drinking water SRF. And then to provide sufficient funds for clean water SRF purposes, $25 million of leverage bond tax exempt proceeds will be transferred from the drinking water SRF to the clean water SRF from new bond issuances planned for federal fiscal year 2026. So in essence, what we are recommending is that with the new issuance that we're planning, $25 million of the tax exempt proceeds issued in the drinking water program will be moved to the clean water program to help meet our demand there. We have a need for taxable funds in the drinking water program, and to help not have to bond for those funds right away here and have that higher cost of bonding that is associated with taxable funds. We have sufficient funds in the clean water program that are available for taxable purposes that we will transfer $25 million from the clean water to the drinking water. Basically, it becomes a net swap of the $25 million, just the purposes that they can be used for are different. And it does not impact our transfer authority ceiling based on the EPA regulations. When you swap funds back and forth like that, you actually keep the same transfer ceiling. So we're not impacting that for the future either by doing this. So staff would recommend the approval of the proposed amendments to the 2026 Clean Water SRF and 2026 Drinking Water SRF intended use plans.
Do we have a motion to follow staff recommendation?
So move, Bernhard.
Second, Jones.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Very good. And I think that brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there anything else before we adjourn?
Not at this time from staff. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody, for being online today. Much appreciated. Bruce, thank you again for being available for us.
Okay.
And do we have
Pleasure.
a motion to adjourn?
So move, Drews.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor with an aye? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. Much
Bye-bye.
appreciated, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
you.